Hello and welcome back to another Pickled Unscripted. As always, I have Matt, the Pickled Dragon, and I'm Dracoya coming to you from my new apartment on the floor, still waiting for the movers to show up.
Oh, yes. Her new fortress of solitude,
Yeah,
secreted away somewhere in the continental United States.
that's right. And
Yeah.
today we've got an interesting video for you guys about the CEO of Hasbro talking about his usage of AI.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
We talked about this briefly before,
Hmm.
and it was, I was afraid. I know that there was a huge stand made last year, maybe it was the year before, against AI art being used in any RPG product. Let's not wedge out artists,
I
human
remember that.
artists. And yeah, fair enough. And then I kind of made the point, well, let's not also not, screw over writers and game developers either.
Hmm.
And that didn't catch on as much, unfortunately. But wait, but wait. We got to make sure that you're okay. We saw you filling a nice glass. What are you drinking?
Oh, I'm actually drinking a Pinot Noir educated guess. I really like this brand. I like the bottle as a scientist. I just really like the bottle. And I haven't had their Pinot Noir in a long time. And I feel like my palate's come a long way as far as
Oh,
it being educated. So
ooh.
it's a Sonoma Coast. It's a Pinot Noir. Um, yeah.
She brought some Pinot. No, no, I can't even pronounce it.
Pinot
Uh,
Noir. And what are you drinking, Matt?
oh well, I've got the Glenlivet that we were enjoying when you were visiting. So sad that you had to go.
I know. Parting is such sweet sorrow.
It
And yes,
was.
we
But
will look forward to next time.
yes, I will. I am excited for next time already. Okay. So AI. My whole thing with, because I write adventures, I develop game content, and I've seen how people have used AI to write scripts for little short movies and all kinds of things. And to me, that is as dirty and you know uh soul crushing to me, I guess, as it must have been to artists seeing their Zuko.
Yeah, he's here.
Zuko. So you know, Chris Cox came on. He was on a Goldman Sachs interview where he was talking about a number of things Hasbro related. But AI really stood out to me because he specifically stated that they are going to deploy AI significantly and liberally throughout Wizards of the Coast, and in particular with Dungeons and Dragons. He said it was going to be used in development, um,
Storytelling.
storytelling, yes, emergent storytelling. Uh,
Probably going to be the artwork too, if it's not already AI. It seems like, and we've done a couple videos on this, Matt. It seems like it's already AI. We just don't
well,
have confirmation about that.
what it seems like, and this is all speculation in terms of art, but to me, when I look at the art, it looks like they use AI to generate some foundational thing, and then someone goes behind it and cleans it up.
Yeah, that is
Takes
what it looks
sixth
like.
and seventh finger off of a hand and that sort of thing. Uh,
Changes one of the facial features or some other crap.
yeah, anywhere that it's kind of wishy-washy and ugly, right?
It looks like it's AI cleaned up. It almost looks like it's AI cleaned up with Adobe and has a lot of filters and cropped some other pictures that AI generated on top of each other. That's exactly what it looks like.
Yeah, yeah. So, in terms of in terms of game development, obviously WotC Hasbro is 100% all in, and I think he even said so on the call. They're 100% in on a PC digital push for Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, he did say on the call that they are going to be pushing a lot of Dungeons and Dragons to PC and console. I think it was mentioned at some point that he's also going to be, they're going to be pushing for mobile games.
Yeah.
So that's what our lovely game is going to be reduced to.
Yeah, I think the with a video game, obviously the opportunity for cooperative storytelling is greatly hampered. There's really only so much, at least today, that an AI can do to encourage the fuckery that Dracoya loves so much in D&D. All the off the script, off of the, outside of the box thinking that players will do. And you know, I I boy, and maybe I'm just like an old man, I'm like a crotchety old man. I don't like that newfangled technology in my game.
I
Uh
don't think that's it though. I mean, I think that there's just something so lovely and human about being able to use your imagination with some of your friends. And there's all kinds of different groups out there, and I don't think that everyone's going to get along with every group just the way they're not going to get along with every person. But man, when you find a group that you vibe with and you are on the same level of weird and crazy as the rest of your party, there's something magical that happens. And you're not going to get that in the direction that things are going, which makes me really sad.
yes. So you know what? I just thought of this. I have this quote from Gary Gygax that, because I kind of was wondering what he would think about this move to a digital Dungeons and Dragons. And we had the gold box and the video games from TSR and all that stuff back in the day. And those were, I have a lot of fond memories from that stuff. But Gary, he mentioned here, if the time ever comes when all aspects of fantasy are covered and the vast majority of its players agree on how the game should be played, D&D will have become boring indeed. Sorry, I don't believe that there is anything desirable to having various campaigns playing similarly or exactly like one another.
Yeah.
He is supposed to offer a challenge to the imagination and to do so in many ways. So he was basically saying that he loved the idea that every game had their house rules, every game handled, different or the same situations differently. And with anytime you get into like I'm in IT, you get into programming, and the number of choices available to a computer is typically limited to the choices the coder gives it, right? And
Right.
so to me, it's like it's a little bit of a shame. It's kind of like the sterilization of the game. I don't know how else to put it. It's becoming
A ghost, a shadow of itself.
yeah, like soulless.
Yes, it is becoming soulless. It is starting to lack personality. It is starting to lack um diversity within the game, I would say. In that it used to be you really did need a party with a cleric or a bard or this or that, and you don't need these things anymore because everyone is can do everything. It's become more homogenous and
Yeah.
therefore less diversified within the game itself.
So I do think, just for the sake of you know full disclosure and everything, I think it'd be good of us to play that clip right now of what Chris Cox said specifically, so that there's, if we're taking it out of context, please let us know. Let us know what you think, family, friends out there. But here it is.
Well, I think inside of development, we've already been using AI, and most major developers have been using AI for years. It's mostly like a machine learning based AI or more of a proprietary based AI as opposed to a more general kind of like ChatGPT kind of approach. You know, we will deploy it significantly and liberally internally, both as like a knowledge worker aid and as a development aid. I'm probably more excited though in terms of the playful elements of AI. You know, if you just look at a typical D&D play, going back to kind of like the theme I had around, you know, don't be afraid of what your players are doing, embrace what your players are doing. If you look at like a typical D&D player, you know, I play with probably 30 or 40 people D&D regularly. There's not a single person who doesn't use AI somehow for either campaign development or character development or story ideas. That's a clear signal that we need to be embracing it. We need to do it carefully. We need to do it responsibly. We need to make sure we pay creators for their work. And we need to make sure we're clear when something is AI generated. But the themes around, you know, using AI to enable user-generated content, using AI to streamline new player introduction, and then using AI for emergent storytelling, I think you're going to see that across not just like our hardcore brands like D&D, but across multiple of our brands, from kids to adults.
So yeah, so to me, one of the things he said that drives me crazy, and I think you have some things to say about this, but he says that he regularly plays D&D with 30 to 40 people.
No fucking way you do.
like maybe in the last year he played with 30 or 40. You know, I can't imagine to me, I hear the word regularly, that's kind of a loaded word. Like, to me, that means weekly, maybe bi-weekly, 30 to 40 people. I mean, a CEO, like the CEOs I know are way too busy to have any fun. You know, they go on vacation once a year, but they're not playing D&D with 30 to 40 people. And then he says, oh, well, and every one of them are using AI for campaign and character development, story ideas, every one of them. And what, I mean, you had something to say about that.
Confirmation bias. That sounds like confirmation bias. He's taking, okay, let's play devil's advocate and say, fine, he is playing with 30 or 40 people weekly or bi-weekly, regularly. All right, okay, fine, Chris, we'll give you that. But that's still confirmation bias, because those are not the only people that play D&D. It's not even 1% of the total demographic that plays D&D. These are the people that you've chosen to surround yourself with, who probably think like yourself, and so you've given yourself confirmation bias that this is the direction in which Dungeons and Dragons is headed. But it's not. It's not. I know. I think I personally know one dude who's used D&D AI with D&D, and that wasn't even to play. That was to play by himself because he couldn't get a group together, which is a completely different thing, right?
Yeah, I, that is, and again, maybe I'm showing my age. Like, I actually have gone out to AI stuff and mucked around with it. And I've never once liked anything it produced. So I just, you know, and maybe I'm not using it right. Maybe I'm an old man, old crotchety man.
Maybe that's your own little confirmation bias, Matt. I mean, I've used ChatGPT and I've come up with a lot of stuff. It's helped me rewrite tons of emails for work. It's helped me come up with pretty cool like ideas. It's a great sounding board for me to bounce ideas off of. But that doesn't mean that I use it to replace what I'm doing or replace other people, which is a completely different thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, it's the reason I bring this, well, the reason we bring this up is, you know, again, we stood up for artists, but when it comes to writers, it doesn't feel like that level of support existed. And after the purge they did right before Christmas last year, and they got rid of all of basically the game development wing of WotC. And they've kept a handful of people around, and Perkins is one of them. No matter what you think about Chris Perkins, he can develop a game. But there is like some very young, inexperienced writers they kept on, probably because they don't make a whole lot of money. And my idea, like what I feel like is happening is like, because he says we were using it for development. So are they producing and if you recall last year he said we have 50 years worth of D&D adventures to draw upon, and he said that they could use AI to essentially pull from that 50 years of experience to create adventures.
I remember that.
Yeah. So I'm wondering, are they going to just, have AI crank out some stuff and then, like we are speculating on the art, then have someone clean it up and then
how much of this company is going to be left? You're getting rid of the writers, you're getting rid of the artists. I mean, what do you have left? And then the other thing that I want to touch base on, Matt, if you're finished, is the last point that I really didn't like is how he was talking about how he's going to change the demographic and he's going to start targeting girls. And I'm like, well, I don't like that. And I think that I mentioned this before, but I don't need a shining white knight to come in and rescue my demographic and make it to where things are focused on my demographic for my sake. Like I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm good with the level of D&D that it is right now. And not everything needs to be for everyone. And I'm also really concerned about what exactly he means by that. Like, how are you going to target this towards women? Maybe this needs to be a whole nother video because I got so much to say.
Yeah, because like, what does D&D specifically targeting females look like?
Right. That's what I'm really concerned about. Are we going to make it to where it's all My Little Pony Dungeons and Dragons? Or is it going to be like more pink? Are you going to start adding like only female? I don't know what it is you think you're doing, but I can promise you I probably don't want it.
Yeah, it's weird. I would imagine that the females who enjoy D&D just as it is today probably wouldn't necessarily like what that looks like.
No, I don't think so at all. And not everything. No, and well, yeah, I'm agreeing with you. I don't think we would look like what that looks like, and not everything needs to be for everyone. I mean, I think it's similar to the idea that we're trying to put in everybody into all of the games. It's like, well, maybe it's not meant to be towards your demographic, whatever that demographic may or may not be. Maybe it's good the way it is, and maybe it doesn't have to be inclusive for everyone, and that's okay. You got your things, I got my things, and we can agree they're both awesome. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, and you got to wonder if by making it more appealing to females, are they going to lose male customers? Like what does that look like? And that's why I struggle with the idea, because it's I don't know that I would call D&D a boy brand. Like I've heard people argue that Star Wars was originally a boy brand, and then they tried to market it to women, and the last shows kind of flop. I'm not a Star Wars person, and that's not really my wheelhouse, so I'm not going to go down that road. But that's the arguments that I heard, and But I don't know if D&D's a boy brand, quote unquote.
But I don't really believe in stuff that's like boy girl brands. And you know, maybe we need to just have another video where we're talking about girl boy brands and girl branding in D&D. And maybe I'll just leave it right here. We'll have to go on a tangent at another time. Otherwise, this video is going to be 45 minutes long.
4,500.
I got a lot of wine, people.
Yes.
All right. Well, if you want to support our channel, you can go to Thorum.com and use promo code
Pickled 20
Pickled20
for 15% off. Their jewelry, watches, all that. They have wallets. They have all kinds of accessories that, whether you're looking for something for a Renaissance fair, because they have really interesting looking jewelry, really cool, or like an outside of the box, you know, wedding ring or engagement ring. It's beautiful stuff, and you'll be able to check it out. We usually have a banner and whatnot up or down or in between around.
Somewhere around here, we're going to have a banner. Go to Thorum.com and use code Pickled20 for 15% off.
Yes.
Yeah.
Until next time.
Well, comment, like, subscribe. Tell us what your thoughts are. Are we overreacting? Are we going crazy? Are we misinterpreting things? Or is maybe AI taking over the world of D&D?
I'm an old man and I'm crotchety, and I approve this message.
Comment, like, subscribe, and until next time, come back and have another round on us.
Woohoo!